isn't when she leaves. That's the part most people get wrong. A man usually doesn't realize he lost a good woman during the argument. Not during the breakup. Not even when she says, "I'm done." Because in that moment, his ego is still protecting him. Still whispering, "She'll be back. She always comes back. She just needs space. She's emotional. She'll calm down." And that lie is what delays the truth. The exact moment he realizes he lost a good woman is much quieter than that. It happens later, when life stops reacting to him, when the phone stays silent, when the room feels strangely finished, when the woman who used to explain, forgive, wait, soften, remind, and understand suddenly becomes unreachable in spirit. That's when it lands, not when she disappears, when he realizes she's not coming back as the same woman. Because a good woman rarely leaves all at once. First, she tries. She communicates, clearly, more than once. She gives chances that nobody sees. She lowers her pride to save the relationship. She starts conversations he avoids. She explains wounds he caused in words gentle enough not to break his ego. She stays longer than she should because she sees the good in him, even when he's not living from it. And this is where many men make the fatal mistake. They confuse her patience with permanence. They mistake her understanding for weakness. They think because she loves deeply, she will tolerate endlessly. But that's never how it works. A good woman doesn't leave because she stopped loving him. She leaves because loving him started costing her self-respect. And most men don't detect that shift while it's happening, because it doesn't look dramatic at first. It looks like she's talking less, laughing less, repeating herself less. Not because she's healed, because she's tired. That's the danger. A woman who is angry still cares. A woman who argues still hopes. A woman who is disappointed is still emotionally invested. But when she becomes calm, different calm, not peaceful, detached, that's when the ending has already begun. And a lot of men miss it because silence feels easier than conflict. He thinks, finally, no more pressure, no more heavy conversations, no more emotional scenes. He doesn't realize that silence is not relief, it's withdrawal. It's her love packing its bags in slow motion. So when does the realization hit him? Usually in ordinary moments. That's what makes it brutal. It's not cinematic. It's not thunder and tears and dramatic music. It's microwaved food in a quiet kitchen. It's reaching for the phone to text her something small, then remembering he can't. It's seeing something funny and having no one who gets his sense of humor the same way. It's being sick and noticing nobody checks in. It's winning at something and realizing the one person who used to clap the loudest is gone. That's when memory turns against him. He starts replaying things he once dismissed. The little ways she cared. The warnings she gave. The effort he called too much. The standards he called drama. The loyalty he treated like a guarantee. And now, without her presence to absorb his carelessness, he finally sees the truth. She was not asking for too much. She was asking for the bare minimum with love on top. Respect, consistency, emotional safety, reciprocation. That's all. But when a man is immature, emotionally lazy, or too addicted to being accommodated, even the bare minimum feels like pressure. So he resists. He delays. He avoids. He assumes there will be one more talk, one more chance, one more comeback. Until there isn't. And here's the part nobody tells him. The pain is not just losing her. The pain is realizing who she was after he no longer has access to her. That's the exact wound. Not absence alone. Recognition. Delayed recognition. Because now he sees what she was protecting him from. Loneliness. Chaos. His own emotional emptiness. A good woman doesn't just love a man. She organizes his emotional world. She brings softness where there would be noise, meaning where there would be routine, warmth where there would be survival. She notices the little things. She remembers what matters. She humanizes his life. And he often notices none of this while she's there. Why? Because consistency is invisible to the comfortable. People only notice what was holding them together after it stops. Not smaller. At first, he feels free, then distracted, then curious, then unsettled, then replaced by a strange kind of grief he cannot explain. Not just, I miss her, more like, I misjudged her. And that sentence is heavy. Because it forces him to face something men spend years avoiding. She wasn't hard to love. He was hard to reach. She wasn't impossible to keep. He was careless with what was rare. And once that truth enters a man, it changes the texture of everything. The next women feel different. The conversations feel thinner. The attention feels cheaper. Because once you've been loved by a woman who was genuine, intentional, and emotionally present, imitation becomes obvious. He starts meeting people who are attractive, available, exciting maybe. But not her. Not the woman who knew how to calm him without controlling him. Not the woman who saw through his mood before he explained it. Not the woman who remained loyal while he was still becoming someone worth being loyal to. And that comparison becomes a private haunting. He won't always admit it. Sometimes pride won't let him. Sometimes he'll hide behind distractions, rebounds, work, noise, ambition, anything that keeps him from sitting still long enough to feel it fully. But he feels it, especially at night, especially in transitions, especially when life humbles him. Because that's another truth. Men often realize value through loss, not possession. When she was there, she felt familiar. When she's gone, she becomes priceless. And no, this doesn't mean every man changes. Some just feel regret. Some romanticize her, but learn nothing. Some come back not because they've grown, but because they're lonely. That's why a good woman has to be careful when the return happens. Because often, he comes back right at the moment he finally understands her value. But understanding her value is not the same as becoming capable of honoring it. That is a massive difference. A man can miss you deeply and still not be ready for you. He can cry over losing you and still carry the same habits that made him lose you. He can speak beautifully after absence has educated him, but words after loss are cheap unless behavior has changed. And that leads to the most important psychological truth in all of this. The moment he realizes he lost a good woman is usually the same moment she has finally stopped waiting for him to realize it. That's why the timing feels cruel. His clarity arrives when her hope expires. His awakening begins where her attachment ends. And this is exactly why some losses become permanent. Not because love wasn't real, because growth came late. Too late to interrupt the emotional funeral she had already completed in private. See, women often grieve before they leave. Men often grieve after. That is the asymmetry. She cries while still in the relationship. He reflects after it's over. She begs for change while she still cares enough to stay. He offers change after her nervous system no longer believes him. She mourns the relationship in real time. He mourns it in hindsight. And hindsight is a ruthless teacher, because it shows him all the moments he could have chosen differently. The call he didn't make, the apology he delayed, the affection he withheld, the reassurance he thought was unnecessary, the ego he protected instead of the connection. That is the exact moment. Not 1 second, not one text, not one dramatic goodbye. It's the collision between memory and irreversible truth. It's when he understands that what he lost was not just a woman. It was a rare emotional environment. A kind of love that made life softer, safer, richer. And the insider truth most people never say out loud is this. A man doesn't fully realize he lost a good woman when he sees her with someone else. He realizes it when he becomes the man she needed, and she's no longer there to receive it. That's the punishment. That's the lesson. That's the silence he hears for years. Because now, he has the awareness. Now, he has the language. Now he knows what mattered. But the door he ignored when it was open is no longer open. And if there's any wisdom in that pain, it's this. The rarest people in your life usually do not ask for perfection. They ask for presence. They ask to be valued before they are forced to become a memory. And by the time someone has to teach you their worth through their absence, the lesson is almost always more expensive than it had to be.